Travis Wayne Goodsell. Well, it's Monday, so it's dead on the internet day, or at least for my channel on YouTube. So, we'll do another video that no one will watch. And YouTube doesn't need to do any extra censorship of, because nobody watches on Mondays. And so today is your church hangover day, as you've blacked out from any lesson that was taught in church. I'm pretty sure none of you went to church and partook of the sacrament and went, oh yeah, Travis was saying something about this with the Egyptian religion, origins, I can't quite remember. Sort of turned them off and put a thumbs down on that video. The second X would always get provoked with Release Society meeting. It would incite her to do dumb things in her life during that week. And oh God, what a nightmare to try to get her back on track. So, yeah, it's not a good thing. But with Mormonism, as I did the pragmatic morality of Mormonism, original Mormonism, and demonstrated how it's completely and utterly different than the new Mormonism of spiritual witness morality. I talked about how you can use it to test theories in science as well. The consequences confirm or deny the truth or falsehood of a scientific theory. And so with the Book of Mormon, all Mormons claim the Book of Mormon is true, but what exactly are they referring to? So there are those Mormons like John Welsh, who studied his Book of Mormon and found Hebrew chiasmus. And he claims that he's proven the Book of Mormon true. No. No. All he did was identify the late war within the Book of Mormon. And ex-Mormons know this, but Mormons live in denial, spiritual witness mode. So, yeah, it's very frustrating to try to put Mormons into reality so that you can have a simple, basic conversation with them. They get all upset and angry as they've already left this video and put a thumbs down. Then you have Joe Samson. And very few people know of Joe Samson. He's written by the finger of God man, who published his book, which was very excellent for teaching Jewish mysticism. But he claims to have found Jewish mysticism in the Book of Mormon, and therefore claims that the Book of Mormon is true. Yeah, no. Nope, all you did was expose Jewish mysticism as being in the Book of Mormon. Another plagiaristic material. So as Kwaku tells us, consistencies are proof of the truth of the Book of Mormon. No, they're not. So this is the difference, is that you have Mormons who are apologists, who try to prove the Book of Mormon through fallacy. And then you have those Mormons who aren't mentally capable of doing research, and so they fall into the spiritual witness category. And so, all of those apologetics, they're great and fine, but I already have a testimony. I don't need science. I don't need this moral pragmatism that Travis is talking about. Joseph wasn't a pragmatist. Okay, whatever. And then you get those map boys who all claim they've all figured out the map of the Book of Mormon. And I've talked to you about one particular one who his last encounter, as I finally had to ban him, because he pulled the old childish bully tactic of, what do you have to fear? Yeah, that's what our peers did when we were young, to get us to smoke, drink, have sex, or jump off a bridge and land headfirst on our skull. Funny for him, the bully, not so fun for us, the victim, who's gullible and naive enough to fall for the bullying peers. And so, yeah, he was banned. But he couldn't grasp the concept that none of these outside of the Book of Mormon tests establish anything about the Book of Mormon. All these maps, oh, good job, you've established a geographical location. That's it. You haven't proven the Book of Mormon is true. Because it can be fiction. Fiction authors go to a geographical location to get a feel for the surroundings if they're going to be a good author for their particular book. And yes, Solomon Spaulding did just that, because he lived not too far away. And so these map makers don't get it either. And then, of course, the church has already come out and said, we don't know the location for the Book of Mormon lands, and we order all Mormons not to fall for these map makers who are trying to deceive you. So if he's listening without having to sign in, because he won't find me signing in, I wonder how he thinks of that. Maybe he can use his spiritual witness to claim that the prophets are false. Or that the prophets are actually validating him because they just don't know. They need to see his work. So he's going to go downtown, walk through up the stairs and into the door of the church administration building, and be met with the guard dressed in a suit and say, I'm here to put Nelson in his place. I'm here to tell him how to do things. Right, Nemo? That's what you were doing yesterday's video. God. So, yeah, I dare you. I dare you to do that. There would be bulletproof glass with a key lock, or a punch pad lock thing on the door. Good luck. Have fun. So, yeah, all these things from Mormons, they're just not doing anything except causing harm, further harm, as Mormons insist on considering the Book of Mormon an actual history. And so, yes, science comes in and does all this stuff and say, no, wrong, nope, wrong, couldn't happen, nope, didn't happen. And then the apologists say, oh, it could happen, No, it couldn't. No, it couldn't. I did hear one clever person who's developed the theory that I was told by one of the members in the ward here about how the plates were constructed. Because, well, you can't carve onto thin plates on both sides. It messes things up. But wait, there's a Mormon apologist who's figured it out. To prove the Book of Mormon is true. Well, they used wax. They put the wax over the one side. Then they wrote in the wax. Then they used an acid substance that ate away the wax and left the impression on the plates. Sounds great, but you've just confirmed how to forge the Book of Mormon plates. Good job. Again, it's not proof that the Book of Mormon is true. The only thing that establishes the truth of the Book of Mormon would be the plates themselves. There are none. There are no plates. Remember, the angel Nephi, not Moroni, Nephi. It's always been Nephi for Joseph. Nephi took them with him. And so we don't have them. Oh, but Nephi will come back and he will give them to President Nelson, and Nelson will have the gift and power of God to translate as well as he did the word Israel, as he uses the white supremacist definition. Oh, dear God. Yep. Nothing says we support the Jews like white supremacy and white supremacist definitions of Hebrew words. Yeah, good job, Nelson. And so, let God prevail, my ass. Never acknowledged Passover. Never acknowledged Moses with the Exodus. Nope, wouldn't do it. There's a reason, and it's all in his chosen definition for Israel. And it's interesting that early Mormons also didn't catch on, because after the assassination of Joseph Smith, there was a guy named James Strang who claimed that he was the rightful successor because he showed everybody a document with Joseph Smith's signature at the bottom that James was supposed to be the new leader after Joseph was dead. And that's not all. He also created his own plates that he claimed was found buried in the ground. And it had these strange markings on them. And he doubled down, I have a translation. You can now see the plates, and here's my translation of them. Wow. If only we had those today, because through the pragmatic morality of Mormonism, we could have confirmed whether he was telling us the truth or whether he was a liar fraud. But those who followed him out to an island in Michigan found out he was a fraud another way, as he claimed that he's now received revelation to practice polygamy. And he was mysteriously murdered. Nobody knows who did it, or nobody's saying, and they all went their separate ways to other religions or wherever. And so again, you can see Mormons have been duped from the beginning because they did not understand the pragmatic method that Joseph Smith was teaching at the same time claiming the Book of Mormon came from Egyptian treasure plates buried in the ground. They'd apparently forgotten all about the Knights Templar and the York Rites Freemasonry. Yes, the Holy Grail, Bloodline, Egyptian treasure plates, Friday the 13th, X marks the spot in southern Illinois in America, Kensington Stone, the latter-day total solar eclipses, X marks the spot. And as a result, Mormons believed what they wanted to believe and stayed in the church based on their beliefs, as they would not listen to Joseph Smith as to this process of pragmatic morality. By their fruits ye shall know them. Faith without completed works is dead. Even as 1838 history teaches us this pragmatic approach. Reading James, pondering over it. And in this particular case, he had to pray, because that's what the scripture was saying. And it was just a method of trying to teach the concept that Mormons just never got. And thus, that's the reason why they were constantly referred to as wicked. Joseph Smith says, come on, guys. We got to get going on this temple. We got to get going on preparation for the latter days. Brigham Young, you're Judas. Yeah, I wonder why Brigham Young did not put that in our Doctrine and Covenants. It's in the Joseph Smith papers. I don't know why the church won't put it in now. I don't know. It boggles my mind. Not really. I'm being sarcastic. But yeah, and so all of these Mormons, to this very day, still have not grasped the basic principle of faith to completed works, which is pragmatism. Mormons just can't grasp it. They can't figure it out, and yet they live it in their lives. But when it comes to the church, they just shut off how they do things in reality and live in fantasy world to their own personal Jesus. Personal Jesus. We got 3 different versions for you to pick your liking to, if you don't like the Depeche Mode version. So, Mormonism is frustrating. They're collapsing within themselves because this new everybody gets a trophy Mormonism with a spiritual witness is collapsing the church. Because, like I said, if Nelson says something that doesn't fit a Mormon spiritual witness, Nelson gets the boot. And they wait for the next prophet to confirm their spiritual witness. And heaven forbid, heaven help us all, if a prophet did actually confirm their spiritual witness. Because those Mormons are going to go, yeah, I'm right, I'm vindicated, yeah, my participation trophy is bigger than yours. Oh my God. I might have a title in there somewhere. We'll see. what do Mormons do? I mean, they have to ignore it, or they have to come to grips with a faith crisis. Oh no, I believed different from the prophet. Am I right? No, I'm right. I'm right. So the prophet is wrong. I'm leaving the church. I'm angry. And I do see many ex-Mormons who talk as if that was their faith crisis, that the prophets weren't teaching correct principles according to their spiritual witness. But this is all part of the rising generation of Mormons. And it's been in the church as leaders are talking about it for decades, but it caught hold in Mormon thought predominantly during the 90s with the rising generation of babies. Literally, those the babies in the 90s, born in the 90s, who then grow up to be the privileged. Everybody gets a participation trophy award in school, and everybody graduates regardless of how dumb they are on the subject matters, because we don't want anybody feeling bad. We got to affirm everybody's belief, and so they're God, and it's turning democracy into truth is a majority vote. That's what this cancel culture is all about, is that we are the majority truth and we're canceling you. Oh yeah? Have you not heard about logic? Because you're using a fallacy to defend cancel culture. And it's the same, Bill Maher talks all about it. He's been on that with the political correctness, condemning and all that. So, but yeah, you're gonna get led astray, and you're gonna fall away from the church, and you're gonna think you know better than the church, right, Nemo? So yeah. Alrighty, that's it. Pretty much. I'm over 20 minutes. Nobody's listening to me now anyway.